Welcome to Mental as Anyone.
I didn't know I'd be sitting here in a wig talking about mental health. Because anybody who's tuning in is going, yeah, this bitch got the answer.
I'm your host, JMO, and in this series we explore mental health.
If this is what life's going to be, I don't want to be here.
The battles, the triumphs, and the strategies to deal with mental health in a healthy way.
We are born and we are just told stories upon stories upon stories about how to live our life, and no one knows.
I'm the first to know that's not easy, having battled on my own journey. Now, I'll be speaking with others who are ready to share their own insights and lessons.
You know, you try to bury it, keep busy, and then all of a sudden it just swallows you whole.
This podcast is specifically designed to support you on your own journey. So join me as we learn together that we are mental as anyone.
You're out there, and every night you have to prove that you deserve to be there.
BYD isn't just powering this podcast. For nearly 3 years, it's been redefining the way I drive. It brings me peace of mind. I just charge it at home, no more detours to the petrol station. And the way it drives, so smooth and has instant power when you need it. It's got all the space, all the tech, and I feel good knowing it's better for the environment too. If you're even a little bit curious, check out the links in the show notes, and thanks BYD for helping bring Mental as Anyone to life. This episode is proudly brought to you by Chemist Warehouse, your go-to destination for all things health and well-being. From essential vitamins and supplements to skincare and fitness products, Chemist Warehouse offers everything you need to stay balanced and healthy. Plus, they're committed to supporting your health journey with affordable, high-quality products. Visit chemistwarehouse.com.au to explore their extensive range and take your next step in your well-being. All right, so we've got a multiple author here with me who I have immense respect for. Annoyingly, I haven't read any of his books, but by the time this comes out, I will have. I've watched the adaptation, the TV adaptation of his book Invisible Boys, and it is, I have to say, one of the most incredible pieces of cinema, and I don't say that lightly, that I've ever seen. I'm talking to Holden Sheppard for Mental as Anyone today, and I've done a deep dive into you.
All right, no pressure.
And you're incredible.
Oof, no pressure.
How
Thank
are you
you.
feeling?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me here, man. I'm pumped.
You're the man of the moment this year. You've had incredible success off Invisible Boys, which, let's face it, is sort of an off-Broadway book. It's not a mainstream book that you could probably buy it at Dimmicks or whatever. I don't know. You can tell me, but it's a queer story, right? But Invisible Boys through Stan has been elevated to this massive global story that's finding audiences that we probably could never have imagined before.
That's right. I think the exciting thing as a novelist, if you get something adapted, the audience for TV and film is a lot greater. There's a lot of people who don't read but love consuming stories through visual media. So it's now reaching far wider. And this is like, I feel like Invisible Boys is the little book that could kind of thing, because it came out from an indie press based in Perth, Fremantle Press, very well regarded, but they're a small press. It came out in 2019, and most books have like a 3-month shelf life, and then, they slowly kind of fade away. That's just normal. That's how the industry works. And Invisible Boys had this really long tail, is what they call, and the sales just kind of kept going, then it started rising. And over 5 years, it's just kept going, and the word of mouth keeps spreading it. So it's become an Australian bestseller. It wasn't on the bestseller lists. It just, over time, has built up so much momentum and so much good word of mouth that people are hyped for it. And I think it's because it is off Broadway. This is something that it's not pandering to the mainstream. It's not pandering to straight people. It's just telling it like it is about, this is what it felt like growing up gay in the country. And these are the 4 boys, and this is how it felt for them.
But it's not just for gay people, which I've been recommending it to everyone I know.
Well, yeah, I hope straight audiences like it. Like, I hope it builds empathy for people. I hope it gives an insight into what we're actually going through. We're not kind of living these chaste, clean, squeaky clean kind of gay lives that are sometimes represented in Hollywood-y kind of stuff. And I hope it lends itself to a lot of different conversations, right? Like, it's not just about even gay men. There's episodes in there that are really just about men's mental health, masculinity, all of it. And so I'm hoping, I'd love straight guys to be watching this. I'd love straight women to be watching this. I think it would be great.
Masculinity, femininity, judgment, all of those things within life, and religion, socioeconomic issues.
it's fascinating as an insight. I have no idea. I had to Google where Geraldton is, where you grew up, 3 hours north of, or somewhere 3 hours something from Perth.
About 4 hours north of Perth. Yeah.
Everything from Perth is 3 hours apparently. Every time I was there the other day and everyone was like, yeah, it's 3 hours from here. I'm like, well, clearly everything is 3 hours.
Pretty much.
Can you jump back for a second and give us a taste of, because this book is semi-autobiographical?
Yeah, I think
not, it's your story but all melded into multiple different people.
That's a good way to put it, and it's a safer way to put it, because I people who have known me from childhood or family or whatever, they're like, which one's me? Which character is representing me? Or this one's meant to be me? And I'm like, no, it's fiction. But yeah, it is semi-autobiographical. Each of the boys is a part of me. Zeke, Charlie, and Hammer were kind of mind, heart, and body. They're representing those parts of me, and then Matt's a huge part of me growing up as well. So yeah, it's about. Probably what I say is the plot and the characters are fictional, but the emotional truth of all the characters, what they're going through, that shit's real. Like I went through that growing up gay in Geraldton, and it was hard. And so when it came to writing a story after I graduated from uni, I was like, I want to tell something that's real. I want to talk about what I went through. It may not work commercially, but I want to just say this is how it felt growing up gay in the country. So that's what I did. So it is very much.
So you
my
tell
story.
that through three fellas, and they're all got different stories, and they all overlap basically, and that is Invisible Boys, and they're finding their feet from a sexuality perspective, and it shows that sexuality isn't linear.
No, I mean they're all grappling with it in different ways, right? Like they're at different stages of whether they want to be out or not, whether they're acting on it or not, and I guess I wanted to show that all of us have different. I mean, and because of what I've written, I hear from so many gay and bisexual men across the world who tell me their stories, and everyone's just had like wildly different paths to working out who they are, and they're all okay. We just all take our own time.
My book, Mental as Anyone, is a memoir meets self-help, and it's out in June 25, awesome. And it's a lot. A lot of people said, why don't you just fictionalize it and do whatever, but it's very raw.
Yep.
And there's there's sexual abuse, there's substance abuse, there's suicide stuff.
Okay, it's heavy. Yeah,
it's heavy.
Yeah,
as fuck. And a lot of the themes that you look at, and I haven't seen that. Christos Tsiolkas released a book, and it was one of the only. There were two things when I was a young gay man, and that was Holding the Man, which is referenced in the series. And there was Head On, which was a young Alex Dimitriades, which was just groundbreaking.
Yeah.
The movie came after the book, obviously, but Alex Dimitriades played in the movie.
Yes.
And it was groundbreaking at the time. So I don't know that there's been anything since that's been so
on screen,
raw and honest on screen. Obviously, there's lots of off-Broadway bibs and bobs that people can do and whatever, but this seems to be the next big milestone in terms of Australian literary works in that space.
That's really flattering, and I hope
For
we
me,
can do that. Yeah, no, well, it's flattering because they were two of my biggest inspirations. I read Holding the Man and Loaded at uni when I was doing my honours thesis, and the thesis was about a gay football player, like a really early prototype of Hammer, and I just was trying to find any version of this. I think there was The Sum of Us as well, but that was earlier again. I think that was early mid-90s.
It was cleaner. It was more sanitized. There wasn't... It was beautiful, and it was a beautiful love story, absolutely, because we didn't see ourselves represented on the screen, but it wasn't... It was nice.
Yeah. And there's a lot of nice
fairy bread
stuff.
comparatively
Yeah.
to what is pretty damn... one of the things that strikes me about this, and it's so hard to articulate in words, is as a gay person or a young person... Sorry. As a young person, the risk you take in life. You do stupid things. You know, heterosexual young people treat each other with disrespect. The way that Hammer in your story treats his girlfriend is bullshit. They sleep together and he just sort of throws her off him.
Yeah.
And she's left going, what's going on? She was also a nightmare. But there's that. And I can relate to that feeling of my own experiences of having sex with female
Yep.
people and trying to find my sexuality.
Mm.
And then there's the risks you take and the danger of being a young person trying to find their sexuality and having sex with people that you don't know the name of. In the queer sense, it's called a beat or a, you have sex in a public toilet.
Yeah.
And it's rough and it's dirty and it's
And we're meant to feel shame about it. I think this is the thing.
there's a lot of shame.
And that's why when you have so many texts that don't articulate that, and when you have really squeaky clean Disney gay stuff being produced,
Which is
or, you know,
great that there's that too.
look, yeah, some of
need
it's
all
great. Yeah, I think you need all
elements.
the story, the happy and the light and the dark, all of it. But when you only have that, it's kind of relegating all the actual experiences that we have to the shadows, right? And I never wanted to do that. When I wrote Invisible Boys, I wanted to kind of come into it with, this will sound like a really bizarre reference point, but Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill, right? This was like a really confessional, mid-90s singer-songwriter kind of thing. But the energy she brought to that album was like, there are no sacred cows. There's nothing I'm not allowed to say. Like, just like absolutely go for it. Like confessional. What does it feel like to be, her in that time? And I wanted to do the same thing when I wrote Invisible Boys. I was like, totally confessional. Forget what my parents are going to think, or my mates, my boss, God, if there's a God, school, forget it all. Like, what did it feel like to be me? Just confessional. No shame, no sacred cows. So yes, there is porn and there is masturbation and there is, cruising and all the stuff that we do that I felt ashamed of for years growing up Catholic and good, Sicilian Australian boy. Put it all out there. And the shame went once I did that, because I was like, there's nothing wrong. That was my path to finding out who I was. There was nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with the thousands and millions of young gay men out there or older gay men out there who've gone through that path. But we go through life carrying all this shame about I'm dirty or there's something wrong with me. It wasn't. This is just our path.
It's a fascinating topic because in my life, I kind of put it in my past, but I didn't realize until I was watching it about the fact that so many people are still going through this. I kind of live in this bubble of living in a city and thinking we're all fine. But there's a lot of people living in remote communities, in smaller communities, not big cities, suburban Sydney, suburban Melbourne, suburban Perth, suburban wherever. And life is friggin' tough, regardless of your sexuality, trying to find your feet.
And that demographic hasn't kind of gone anywhere. When we look at the same-sex marriage plebiscite in 2017, which is kind of referenced in the show, the book was set in 2018. It was brought forward a year to kind of map across to that moment in our lives here in Australia for our community. But when you look at that, you had 30-odd% of people in the country vote no, right? And I'm really glad the vote got up. And obviously I'm married to my husband, so I'm happy about that. But that 30% of the entire population of Australia, of 27 million people or whatever we are, they didn't vanish. They didn't stop existing. No. They didn't stop having those views or projecting those views onto their kids. So all of this shit's still going on. I still see it because I've had a lot of fan mail, more than you would usually get for a book that's sold what my book has sold, because people who've gone through this kind of stuff growing up reach out, and I get contacted from guys who are 18 all the way through to 80, and everyone relates. The experience is the same. Society can progress or regress, as we're kind of maybe seeing happening at the moment. It can go back and forth. Those things can ebb and flow, but the process of coming to terms with who you are is always a private battle. You as a young man, you grow up thinking, I'm straight, I'm normal. You've got a certain life that maybe you think is going to happen for you. So the struggle and the battle of working out, actually I'm into blokes, that wasn't meant to happen. That's always private first, because you don't want to share that with anyone until you're really 100% sure. So that privacy and that shame and that self-loathing that can happen, I had a lot of self-loathing, that builds up regardless of whether people around you are waving a flag or not.
Can you explain that self-loathing and a lot of internalized homophobia that a lot of people feel, just for people that are listening?
Can I explain where it comes from, or can I articulate how it feels?
Or what it feels like and what it is, because a lot of people listening to this aren't gay and won't know what internalized homophobia is necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, what I can speak to is that I just grew up thinking my story is like hammer more in the book than in the show. in the book, Hammer talks about reading a puberty book when he was younger. And it kind of says, during puberty, you might experience some surges of hormones that might make you briefly feel, attracted to the same sex. It could happen, but don't worry, it's just a phase. It's just these hormones kind of misfiring, and in a couple of years' time, you'll be fine. So that part is true. I've said this for years on the record, that I read a book like that was floating around the house. My siblings are a lot older than me. My brother's 12 years older. So book was from the 80s. And I just kind of believed it. So I'm 14. I'm, watching footy. We're a footy family, AFL. So a big Collingwood family. I'm watching footy, and then at some point I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay, that was a really good goal, but he's really hot. Where did that come from? And so suddenly you realize you're into guys. So, because I read this book when I was 10, I'm going, oh, it's just a phase. It'll go away. It's just these hormones, whatever. So a couple of years I was okay. And then about 16 or so, I remember thinking, this phase is lasting a really long time. and suddenly I was not happy about that, because I was really fine with maybe being bisexual. I was like, oh, yeah, whatever, that'll happen, then it'll go away. And it didn't go away. And then I thought, oh, this changes who I am fundamentally. I thought I was a normal bloke. I thought I would be an alpha. I thought I could be normal. And then you're suddenly like, normal. I thought I could be normal. And maybe the panic that comes with this moment of realization about your sexuality is that you won't be seen as normal by anyone. Other men aren't going to see you the same way. So you're going to lose a lot of standing and a lot of respect that you used to have. And so you can start to hate it in yourself, and you can start to go, okay, maybe I can try to not be gay, or maybe I can try to not act on it, or maybe I can, you start doing all this bargaining. And for me, I was Catholic, so I started trying to pray the gay away, which is obviously not a good thing to do, and I don't recommend it to anyone because it really fucks you up mentally. But I did that for about 3 years until I was 19. And what that did is just leads you down to a path of hating yourself, of hating who you are, not wanting to be on the planet. And I almost left, and I didn't, and I'm really glad that I stayed. I reached out to a crisis support service, and they helped me kind of get over a little hump there. But the self-loathing is just, I don't want to be this. I didn't think this, and probably the learning for me was that it didn't actually change any of the other things about me. It didn't change who I was. I was still interested in all the same things. I was still the same person. I happened to like blokes instead of women. It's actually not that big a deal.
I don't want to be this, but for me, it was the added feeling like, because I'm 10 years older than you exactly, or roughly.
Yep.
And it felt like society didn't want me to be that too. Society told me that was what was wrong.
Yeah.
And so,
well, gay men were seen as jokes, right?
Jokes, dirty, disgusting. Really, it's not normal.
Yeah, sick, evil. It depends
all
where
of those
it's.
things.
Yeah.
I found you just said something really interesting. You said society can regress. And you kind of laughed about that in a way. Not laughed, but you kind of went, oh, so kind of like, oh. But we're in the point now where I've been told multiple times, I've been called a faggot on the street of Sydney
Recently.
multiple times in the last few weeks. Things feel a bit more dangerous for queer people. And
in 2025, it feels more hostile.
Yeah.
It feels more hostile right now than when the book came out.
yeah, and that for me is worrying. I'm worried about, I can't speak from a trans person's lived experience, but I can speak from being a queer person. And I'm worried. I am worried.
Yeah, I think everyone is kind of going, hey, what's happened?
And it's scary when it brings back that internalized homophobia. At my age, I didn't think I would feel when I walk down the street, and I can't. I actually feel physically scared.
Yeah, there are things out there at the moment that can feel frightening. I read a book, Sapiens. Have you read Yuval Noah Harari wrote it years ago, and I used to teach it at uni when I did honours there, and then I was a tutor for a little while.
Really,
I read this book.
He's really smart.
But that's not where I was going with this. I'm actually not that smart. No, but my point was, he has a chapter in this book about the arrow of history, and he talks about how it does not move in one direction. But societally, we think of ourselves as we're progressing, and we're progressing in exactly one way, and everything gets better and better and better and better for, say, minorities or whatever. And historically, that's not true. And so I've read that years ago. So everything that's been happening the last 10 years or so, I've just always, every time I see something in the news, I'm like, this is the arrow of history. This is what we've been talking about, is that the pendulum it's going to go like this. And what we need to do is A, take care of ourselves, B, fight for what's right, of course, and make sure we don't lose any rights, or defend them if we need to. But for me, and for this show in particular, my advocacy or my activism has always been less about holding up a sign at a protest, although I've been to many protests.
Yeah.
But it's been more about, okay, what art can I make that will do something for people? And for me, that's it. My art is my activism. And so people have been describing Invisible Boys landing at this exact moment as a beacon of hope for the gay community. And I'm like, great. If it can be that, I'm really happy, because to me, we need to take care of ourselves, our own mental health, our own space. The world needs happy homos, however we arrive at that. But it does. It's so easy in our community to get drawn into constant anger and constant outrage, because if you look, it's going to be everywhere. There are threats. There are frightening things. There are outrageous things that are said about us. And if you engage with every single one of them on social media, you're going to be a really angry homo forever. And I feel like, and I've been that guy. Like, I've been that guy before, where I was like, let me make another Facebook post about this thing that I'm furious about, because it's fucked up and no one should ever go through that. And you do that for a few years and you're like, I'm now just a really angry guy whose entire life is dictated by right-wing homophobic people. And so I was like, do you know what? Fuck them. I'm going to go be happy, and I'm going to go do stuff that makes me happy and live a really good life. And that's a better way for me. Everyone has their own path to activism and what feels like a good life. But for me, writing stories that are true and just putting them out there and having no shame about who we are, that to me is a more powerful thing than getting angry every 5 minutes.
I'm really excited to share something very special with you. I've always been open about my personal struggles, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. And now I've put it all into my book, Mental as Anyone. It's raw, it's real, and full of the lessons I've learned, alongside some expert wisdom from Dr. Jodie Lowinger to help you navigate your own mental health journey. The book hits shelves in all good bookstores nationally on June 25, but you can pre-order it right now on Amazon. The link is in the show notes. This book means the absolute world to me. I hope it helps you too.
You described, or someone described this as Looking for Alibrandi meets
Head On.
Head On.
Yeah. Yeah, someone just said that to me yesterday. And I thought that was pretty accurate. Like, we've got Pia Miranda in it for start.
Who's brilliant.
She's so good as a villain.
Hateable, but brilliant.
That's what everyone's like, how could we possibly hate, Pia Miranda's character? But she's just brilliant as a villain.
Hateable, but also understandable. Like, I've seen that person in so many people. That's not a new thing.
No, and I think she's talked about this in interviews, that she really tried to work out, like, okay, where is Anna Caligari coming from?
So the character that P. Miranda plays is a mum of one of the boys who doesn't believe in she believes homosexuality is a sin, basically, and that it's wrong. Fundamentally, it is wrong, and her son will not be gay.
Yeah, and just like, it has to be kind of crushed out of him at all costs, and let's make sure that doesn't happen and sweep it aside. Very perfectionistic, very image based. But we've got the sauce making scene as well, which is sauce was a huge part of my childhood. So my grandparents came over to Australia from Sicily many years ago as teenagers. But we carried on these traditions of making sauce every year. It was the best part of the year for me and my cousins. So that shows up as well. And you've got those really nice Looking for Alibrandi kind of references, not only with Pia Miranda there in at the bathtub squeezing tomatoes, but the whole thing, even the book in that scene referenced Looking for Alibrandi. So that movie was a huge cultural touchstone for Italians. Like that and the Wog Boy, there was this whole moment 25 years ago, but when I was 12, that we were suddenly calling ourselves wogs and being really proud of it, and not being, my dad's generation didn't like those terms because they were really used as slurs. But us younger kids kind of embraced it a little bit.
Well, there is power in owning those. Sticks and stones, right?
I think, and it was just like, well, it might have been used against us, but we're kind of proud of it now, and we're all proud of our heritage, and so there's that side of it. And then with obviously Head On, Christos, amazing, groundbreaking writer. He's probably the closest thing I tried to emulate. I don't think I'm as lyrically gifted as him in terms of the writing that I do. My writing's quite accessible and straightforward. But writing about gay sex and writing about drugs and writing about bad mental health without shame is something he did really well in an Australian WOG context 20, 30 years before I did it. And I read his book and I watched Head On, and I was like, I need to do this. So the fact that people are calling it a crossover between those two things is very flattering to me, and I feel really honoured by it.
You've already answered the question. I was going to say, are you the new Christos Theokis? and we don't need a new one. We've just got you and him, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and you know, like we've met and we've hung out a few times, and he's a great guy. He's a very talented writer, and I look up to him a lot. So if you're even asking that question, I'm really, really flattered by it.
Offline, you made a point that I can relate to, that I think about a lot with this podcast, and I like that pretty much everyone that's been on Mental as Anyone has spoken from a perspective of coming through the other side, or managing things, or, you know, strategies, life lessons, things like that, because I don't want it to just be a big trauma dumping experience. But it can be heavy just listening to your own shit in your head and then having other people give you their shit too. The idea of this is that we're all dealing with our own stuff, and hopefully we can find similarities to see how we can get through our own things. But you mentioned that, you know, there can be times where it's hard to put yourself in that world. And, you know, you've been an ambassador for Lifeline, and you've worked with various mental health organisations. You've done keynote addresses. You've done all of that stuff. But you also have to look after your mental health to ensure that you're not wallowing in this pit.
Yeah, it's something I didn't realise until I was in it, and then I had to kind of climb my way out of that pit. I think there was this perception that I'd written a book about having bad mental health as a closeted teenager, and now I was over it. And I was fine. So now I could be a great ambassador and speak about it. And to some extent, that's the narrative about a lot of people who talk about mental health. It's kind of like, I went through this bad thing, then I came out of it, and now I'm good. And I started doing that. You know, when the book was first contracted, it won the Hungerford Award in 2018, which gave it a contract. And then 2019, it came out. So around 2018, 2019, 2020, I was doing all these, like, talking about my mental health, talking about being suicidal, but like over and over and over. And it just fucked me up really badly and then I kind of remember sitting there and going, it's because my mental health is still not perfect. You know, I'm deeply introverted. I don't love being in front of people. And so that takes energy. And then you kind of, you know, the book tour for Invisible Boys absolutely fucked me up. So I spent 60 days doing kind of media and events and all this. I loved it. But I was waking up, responding to social media messages from people telling me about their own suicidal experiences. Then I jump on a radio interview or do press, and I'm talking about being suicidal. I go to a bookshop and talk about being suicidal. That night, I'm at an event being interviewed about being suicidal, and
people want to know the deepest of those moments.
They want to dig in, right? And then at the very end of that event, 30 people come up to you in a signing line and say, well, let me tell you about when I was suicidal as well. I was not okay. Like, I was really not okay.
How did you step out of that? How did you claw yourself out of that pit?
Yeah, so I had to pull right back and had to work out, what am I going to say and what am I not going to say? How often am I going to say it? And that meant pulling away from a lot of it. That meant pulling myself back from feeling like I had to be like, I don't know, a lot of people project this kind of thing of like, you could save a lot of lives and you could do this, and you kind of think, okay, well, I have to then. I've got to do everything that's thrown at me, and I've got to save all these lives somehow, which is actually a little bit fucked up messiah complex being projected onto you. So I just kind of stopped doing it. And I say no to almost everything now because it's not good for my mental health. So I actually just withdraw. I'll go through a very short promo period for a TV series coming out or for a new book coming out in a little while. And then I just go into my cave and I say no to everyone. And I just go to the gym and hang out with my husband, go for walks, see friends. I don't do anything public. I don't talk about my own shit. And my mental health gets a lot better when I do that. So I've just learned to pull right back.
You still work on your mental health with your partner and life, and do the things that are good
therapy.
for you.
Oh yeah.
Do
I'm a
things
therapy
that are
junkie.
good for you. You're a therapy junkie. So
yeah.
you know, for me, walking, getting out and about, doing all those things.
Yeah.
You know, they're important to me to help with my mental health. But you talking about suicide every day is not going to be great.
No, and I've learned to not. You know, like I do it really strategically now. Like I come here today and I know I'm going to talk about it. But
so why are you here for Mental as Anyone then? Because you're doing promo.
No, I think because I looked at what you were doing and I thought this is a great way to go directly into it. And I don't like to talk about it every single interview, but this is specifically about mental health. And as much as I like to protect my mental health, I am passionate about what my book is doing. And so if I can let people know that there is a book out there that talks to this stuff, and there is a TV series out there that talks to this stuff. And if you've gone through some dark shit, which frankly almost everyone has gone through dark shit, like it's just so common, you know, and it's just whether you've addressed it and gone to therapy, or whether you've like just suppressed it and try to carry on being normal. Everyone's gone through it. And so if I can let people know that this is out there, I'd love people to access the works that I've created. And I hear from so many people that the TV show and the book help them process their own trauma. And so I'm like, cool, let that work do that. If I have to pop up every now and then and talk about my stuff to let people know about those texts, then I will. And I think it felt like a kind of space where, you know, I've listened to some of your podcast episodes, and I thought, yeah, we could have a really good chat about this.
How do you feel now?
About
Drained? Just you, life. How are you feeling? Like, I hope
right
this
now?
hasn't been
Yeah.
too...
No. It's been really nice actually to talk it out. I have a little bit more time of promo, and then I will withdraw into my cave, and I literally just go to the gym 6 days a week and spend a few hours there every morning, and that's how I start my day. It's like a job essentially, but in a really fun way.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, but
I
in a
find
really
getting out of bed hard sometimes.
It's my favorite thing. Like it's like medicine. The gym is actually like medicine to me. Like I go there, I lift weights, I check out of all of this. I'm not a writer. I'm not talking about mental health. I'm just doing something that makes me feel good and happy, and it's my favorite hobby.
So The Brink was released in 2022, completely separate, completely different characters, but there is a queer element to it. Are you writing the next book for Invisible Boys?
Yes.
You're
yes.
in the midst of writing it. Have you written it? Is it?
Yeah, I have written it and it's finished. So I've got another book in releasing June, and that is called King of Dirt, which is about gay tradies, FIFO workers, and fatherhood. And yeah, it's hot. It's for adults. So it's going to be my first book that can just really go a lot deeper into the sex. And I mean, the TV show has a lot of stuff in there as well, but King of Dirt kind of goes there. And then after that, the fourth book is a sequel to Invisible Boys. I finished it. I will be sharing details when I can about when it's coming out. But everyone is asking, obviously, about is there going to be a season 2 of the show and what's going to happen? And it's too soon to kind of say that. But all I can say is I have written a sequel novel that follows on the boys' stories.
Unreal. I finish up each episode by asking how you are on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being amazing, 1, 0 being shit house.
Yeah.
How are you today?
Oh, I think I'm probably a 7. I'm like on a big high. Like if you caught me after the premiere of Invisible Boys, I was like an 11 for about 5 days. Like I was just so, that was peak life, to be honest. Like there's my wedding night in 2019, like having my wedding with my husband. And there was the premiere. I'm not kidding. It was just a really nice moment of like, oh, this little book that I wrote when I was like, I'd lost my job and my other novel had failed and never gotten published. That book went on to become something, and that was really fucking cool. So then I was about an 11, and then it's slowly wearing off because I'm on the road and I'm touring.
You're tired.
And
You
I'm
need
getting
to
tired.
You want to have a break. You want to
Yeah.
go to the gym,
Yeah.
which to me sounds like hell. It just, I know that was my last question, but I'm throwing in a point half question, which is a full question.
Yes.
What is your view? Because I have very strong views on this. What are your views on straight people playing gay people and gay people playing straight people in Hollywood or on stage on any screen format?
Yeah, I have strong views as well that it's
I think our
just,
views will be similar.
Well, maybe. Well, let me find out. No, I think it's the best actor for the role, and I feel very protective of any actor, not just on my series, but any actor. Kit Connor had this in Heartstopper, where people were kind of trying to make a fuss about him, you know, is he a straight guy playing a gay role? I got furious. I said something in the media about it and just ranted, because no one ever should be forced to come out for a role or to say, oh, it's authentic enough or whatever. I have no problem at all with straight people playing gay male characters. That's fine. I will headbutt anyone who says otherwise, unless it's you, in which case we're going to have a headbutt right now. But are we on the same page?
We're completely on the same page. It absolutely infuriates me. And there is a sort of conservative or the opposite of right-wing, extreme left-wing movement within the queer community that is so angry and I say this knowing that people might come for me, but I don't really give a shit, come away, that queer people have to play queer roles.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
I get why they say that.
Yeah.
But fuck that, because that takes away or dilutes the argument.
Yeah.
Because then the best person's not getting the role anyway, and what we're getting is tokenistic. So,
That's right.
There's queer people in all walks of life. I can tell you right now, there's a lot of gay actors in Hollywood that don't need to advertise it, and nor should they.
Yeah.
And therefore, I completely agree with you. And it shits me to tears when people say, get angry and get that banner. And there's been actors that have, there was a whole show that Hedwig and the Angry Inch was, is it Hedwig and the Angry Inch? Was cancelled because there was a movement of people that said that the lead actor had to be trans.
Right.
And John Cameron Mitchell came out saying the character isn't trans and doesn't therefore need to be trans, yet these people got the show cancelled. So you ended up ruining a whole show. 80 people were out of work, all the people working on the production, the actors themselves.
I think the main thing for me, whether it's gay or whether it's trans or whatever it is like, it's great if there's authenticity, right? Like as a principle. And like with Invisible Boys, it was like the whole writer's room is gay. It was LGBT in some form, right? So we can make an authentic production. Whether the actors are doing that, it's irrelevant. The fact is it's written by those people. And I just think the same. If there's authenticity to aspire to, that's great. But if you end up with someone in a role, in a gay role, who isn't gay, I'm okay with that, because as much as authenticity is aspirational and that's really great, if you take it to the nth degree that every single gay role has to be a gay person, that's forcing everyone to come out. Every actor, that is literally going to force people out of the closet who don't want to be out of the closet. That's not okay. So we can't take it to that nth degree. We have to just be like, well, look, it's really great if we can do that, but best person for the role gets the role, in my view, in the gay space.
Holden Sheppard, thank you very much. I appreciate you being on Mental as Anyone, because you know what? I'm mental. I'm anyone, and you're anyone, and
Me
you're
too.
mental.
And I'm mental as well, mate. Hey, JMO, thanks for having me, mate. Cheers.
This episode is supported by Chemist Warehouse, Australia's leader in health and wellness products. Whether you're looking for natural supplements, fitness essentials, or everyday healthcare, Chemist Warehouse has you covered at unbeatable prices. They're proud to support this podcast and help you take control of your health and well-being. Head to chemistwarehouse.com.au for the best selection of vitamins, wellness products, and more to keep you feeling your best. BYD has taken it to the next level with the all-electric Sea Lion 7, a performance SUV that's as sleek as it is powerful. We're talking quiet luxury, up to 482 kilometres of range, and a 0 to 100 kilometres per hour in just 4.5 seconds. It's smooth, it's fast, and honestly, sustainability has never looked this good. With 4 luxe colours, including the stunning Shark Grey, this is EV driving elevated. If you're even a little bit curious, check out the links in the show notes. Big thanks to BYD for making this podcast possible. I know firsthand how overwhelming life can get, and I also know how powerful it is when you have the right tools to get you through it. That's why I've written Mental as Anyone, a book filled with real stories, practical strategies, and expert insights to help you manage stress, anxiety, and everything life throws your way. With clinical psychologist Dr. Jodie Lowinger providing her professional insights, it'll be on shelves in all good bookstores nationally on June 25. But you can pre-order it right now on Amazon. The link is in the show notes. If you've ever felt like you're struggling alone, this book is for you. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Mental as Anyone. There's been some heavy insights in there, but also some useful tools for all of us to move forward. If you want to be the first to hear new episodes, be sure to hit follow. And if you find yourself in need of support, links to Lifeline, Beyond Blue, and the Black Dog Institute are in the show notes below. See you later.